26, 2019 meeting of the Oshkosh Common Council. Would you please take the roll?
Heck,
Here.
Herman,
Here.
Allison Osby. Here. Palmieri,
Here.
Mugrower,
Here.
Cummings,
Here.
present 7.
Would you all please stand while Councilmember Peck leads us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance?
As we gather tonight, we are grateful for the good things that have come to this city. May our decisions always be ones that are for the well-being of all whom we govern. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first on our agenda is the opportunity for citizens to address the council. Pam, is anyone registered?
No one is registered.
Then we'll move right into consent agenda items. These are items of a routine administrative nature that are voted on by the council in a single roll call vote. Staff recommends approval of all items. Any member of the public or common council may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Pam, is anyone registered?
Yes, for item resolution 19173, we have Dennis Kavanaugh, 1107 Merritt Avenue.
Thank you for having us here. I'm representative of the Menominee South Neighborhood Association, and we've worked pretty hard trying to get this product done. I remember the days when I had to do these things for a living, and they were always, sometimes going to the dentist was more fun. Anyway, we were able to pull together a nice one. I think it provides us clear direction for the next 5 years, at least 5 years of our neighborhood association. We've been successful in what we've been doing. This provides a little more framework and less responsibility on all the individuals. Again, the city has provided us with some wonderful help in the planning department, from Alexa and for Steve, for their patience and their patience and their patience and professionalism and to get this done. I urge you to support it. It's working for us over by the Menominee Park. We've had some real successes with the gardens and other things right now. This just gives us another boost to keep us going, so I urge you to support it.
It's a great plan to have a chance to look at it, so thank you.
Yes, thanks for all that extra work. It is a lot of work.
Pam?
Okay, for resolution 19176, we have Barbara Schneider, 111 East Ripple Avenue.
Good evening. I am Barb Schneider. I was looking for a conditional use permit for the location of 1677 and 1675 Oregon Street. What I'm looking to do is open up an art school and a gallery. This has been a dream of mine for about 20-some years. I was a high school art teacher for 22 years. I had to leave because of getting cancer, and I couldn't be in school and be with the kids, and just broke my heart. So this has given me another chance to work with people and be teaching art classes, and some of the artwork can be sold in the gallery. It is a part-time business. It is seasonal. It's going to be for April through November. It's also going to be Wednesday through Saturday. So I'm hoping I can get the conditional use permit so I can bring this to the community and bring art back to people that would like skill building classes instead of the fun one-night group thing that is wonderful, but just not what everyone wants. So I'm hoping this will pass. Thank you.
Thank you. The Plan Commission did approve it at our meeting last week. Pam, anyone else register?
There are no other residents registered.
I'll bring it back to the council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. Did you get that?
Yes.
Discussion? Deputy Mayor Palmieri.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 items. Resolution 19181. This is the multiple into the night events. Kathy Snell, would you want to speak to that? Just a small clarification on those multiple dates and the multiple locations. They are going to be consecutive, right? So it was just a little unclear on here which one was on what dates.
So Into the Night will be held on the 23rd in one location, on the 25th in one location, and September 26th in another location. So they won't have an event going on in each location on each date. They're just one location, one date, and then they'll move to the next area for their next
Sure.
date.
And as I understand it, this is modeled after the Bazaar After Dark, which is really exciting because I've been a part of those up in the neighbors to the north several times. So it's really exciting to see that come here.
Yes. Again, as just mentioned, people wanting to bring arts and different things into our community. So, yes, modeled after the Bazaar After Dark idea.
Okay, and then while you're here, and there may be somebody else, I believe, in the audience that would want to speak to 19184 Waterfest. You and I emailed about the application and the request for that to have an exception and extend serving alcohol after 9 p.m. as well as the amplified music after hours. Did they provide any reasoning or letters that explained what the need for that exception was?
There was no letter along with that. It was just their request through their application. And I believe Mr. Casper is here tonight, and he can speak to the reasoning in which
Okay.
they would be asking for that request.
Mr. Casper, do you want to come up to the microphone, please?
The question is,
The question is just regarding the request for the extension beyond 9 p.m. to serve alcohol.
Sure.
And also the extension beyond 10 p.m. for the amplified music. I realize that a number of our events have done that before. And typically, we would get a letter, explaining the reason for the exception. Just curious if you could maybe
well,
provide that.
we didn't realize it was an exemption. I mean, it's something in the way we've operated for a number of years down at that site. Being an outdoor event, we run into weather once in a while, and I'd say about a third of the time we have rain during any given part of the day. Whenever you have any kind of rain delay, getting acts on the stage and off the stage is very, very difficult. People pay for the main act. They want to see the main act. And if we have to hold back because of rain, we need that extra time in order to get those acts on stage. If we don't do that, then people want their money back, and it's kind of a hassle that way.
So then do I understand you're saying that the need for the extension of time to sell the alcohol relates to potential delays with the performance?
Well, part of the concession sales is important to our model. If we don't have concession sales, we can't provide that entertainment at the price point that we do. We I don't know if you've been down to Waterfest, but we do stage it in terms of the cost. And when you enter the event, if you come in early, it's at a cheaper ticket price. Sometimes it's $10, sometimes it's $15. And without concession sales, we'd have to probably double that fee, which would probably ace a number of people out of attending that event. So, we want it to be a community event. We let people, come in early, buy early, re-enter if they want, if they want to go out to have dinner at a restaurant downtown, that sort of thing. So, it's a nice, opportunity for community to come out and hopefully see some good entertainment.
Well, thank you. And I've attended the event, and I understand that. I've just been consistently asking as each of the applications come forward that are asking for those exceptions, what the explanation is. So, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Casper. Councilmember Herman.
Thank you, Mayor. I know last year when this application came forward, there was some concern about serving alcohol up until the close of the event. And last year, we made an amendment to 10:30, which kind of coincides with like the Herd games. They don't sell after third quarter. Packer games, they don't sell after third quarter. The Brewers don't sell alcohol after the seventh inning in the stands. So I just thought I'd bring it up. I'm not making a recommendation this year. I did last year, and it did get approved, but if someone else wants to think about that idea. I guess we could make it, I understand Mr. Casper's concerns about, because there are nonprofits that are there as their fundraisers, and for a lot of them, that's their only fundraiser, is concessions, so, but I don't think a half hour is that important in sales, and obviously, they're real close to downtown and other locations. After the event, they could go there if they feel they still need another drink or so. Thank you, Mayor.
I see no other council member wishing to speak to anything on the consent agenda. Pam, one last check. Has anyone else registered?
No one else has registered.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you please take the roll?
Pack,
Aye.
Herman,
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Palmieri,
Aye.
Mugrower,
Aye.
Krause,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
carried 7.
There were no items removed from the consent agenda. We'll move on to pending ordinances. The first is ordinance 19-195, approved zone change from heavy industrial to heavy industrial with plan development overlay at 2661 West 20th Avenue. The Plan Commission recommends approval. Pam,
No one is registered.
bring it back to the council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Would you please take the roll?
Pack,
Aye.
Herman,
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Palmieri,
Aye.
Mugrower,
Aye.
Krause,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
carried 7.
We have three new ordinances. There will be no action taken on either one of the three. The first is ordinance 19-196, approve zone change from the suburban mixed-use district to suburban mixed-use district with plan development overlay at 2625 South Washburn Street. Pam, did anyone register?
No one is registered.
We'll move on to ordinance 19-197, approve zone change from suburban mixed-use district to suburban mixed-use district with plan development overlay at 2080 Witzel Avenue. And again, the Plan Commission recommends approval. Pam?
No one is registered.
Moving on to ordinance 19-198, approve parking restriction on East Waukau Avenue. Traffic and Parking Advisory Board recommends approval.
No one is
Okay.
registered.
That takes care of the new ordinances. We have some new resolutions. The first is 19-199, approve general development plan of a specific implementation plan for an industrial building at 2661 West 20th Avenue. Plan Commission recommends approval.
No one is registered.
All right. Back to the council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Would you please take the roll?
Pack,
Aye.
Herman,
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Palmieri,
Aye.
Mugrower,
Aye.
Krause,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
carried 7.
Resolution 19-200 has been removed by the applicant for consideration at the April 9th council meeting. So we'll move on to Resolution 19-201, approve spot blight designation. Authorized redevelopment authority to acquire 672 Jefferson Street, $47,000. Anyone register?
No one is registered.
Bring it back to the council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Deputy Mayor Palmieri.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have someone here from planning to speak on this? Oh, hi, I see Darlene. So, thank you, Darlene. So my question is, regarding this property, it is not in the redevelopment plan for the Near East, but it's adjacent to, is that correct?
The Jefferson Street property?
I'm sorry, yes, 672 Jefferson Street.
Is within the Near East redevelopment area.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I guess then my question would be for Ms. Lawrenson. If it's in the redevelopment area, why would our resolution say that the redevelopment plan is not necessary? And it was a little confusing because on the redevelopment authority, as they were talking about, they referred to the property as adjacent to.
You're gonna have to give me a minute, I don't
Sure.
read these, so. Unless you know.
across the street from
It's
Lee.
across the street.
It's across.
I chair the RDA, and it's another property we're trying to acquire. All the properties across the street on the west side, we've acquired. We're looking at acquiring more properties on the east side to make that a more
Correct.
redoable, if you will, redevelopment package. This house, the owner came to the city, would like to sell it. You've gone through it, I've gone
Yes.
past it. It has to come down. So
So-
we're trying to acquire adjacent properties so we can really get a developer in there to do hopefully both sides of the street. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes. I believe the title of the Near East redevelopment plan is a plan. It's not really a designated redevelopment area.
Right?
So to protect the interests of the city and the RDA, we are proceeding with a spotlight designation.
Okay, I guess I was a little confused because I had reached out to staff and talked to Mr. Davis last week and asked him if there was interest in regenerating that plan. And,
It hasn't been, but because it is a designated plan that has not been terminated, so we still do consider it as a plan area. But again, because it hasn't had a lot of interest in that plan area, we just felt it was more appropriate
Sure.
to do the spotlight designation.
sure. So in our email, you had also mentioned some more specifics besides the exterior as to why they came up with that.
Yes.
Maybe you want to share that.
Okay. The interior, the owner had started to do some rehabilitation of the interior, but it still requires extensive amount. The owner was then relocated out of state for his job and just didn't have the opportunity to proceed with that rehabilitation. But in order to preserve the property and do a rehab on it for both interior and exterior would cost between $150,000 and $200,000. And based on that neighborhood along the 600 block of Jefferson, it would not support that type of sale of a $200,000 property. And of course, we would not be making any money. So our alternatives are to purchase a property and then demolish it, which we still won't make any money because we do sell the land just for what the value of the properties are in that area. But it is a slum and blight removal and will maybe have an impact on the neighborhood, get other properties to make improvements, and also have an impact on the 600 block on the west side of Jefferson that we're trying to get a redevelopment project going on.
Sure. And Mr. Mayor, you just mentioned that there was a plan, not a formal plan, but a plan to
Discussion with the
purchase.
RDA that we have to acquire really almost properties on both sides to make it
Right.
attractive to a developer. That section of Jefferson has been on decline for decades and decades. And I think on a good day, a property there is, you're going to struggle to get $75,000 for it on a good day. So it's a very slow process and costly to acquire these properties one by one by one, but it will happen. It's going to take time, but
Right. So we can either work with our housing partners once we acquire the property to see if any of them are interested in building a affordable single-family home. Otherwise, we will just do a land assemblage until we have enough properties that we can do a redevelopment.
Thank you so much for that detail.
I see no other one wishing to discuss this. Would you please take the roll?
Pack?
Aye.
Herman?
Aye.
Ellison Osby? Aye. Palmieri?
Aye.
Mugrower?
Aye.
Krause?
Aye.
Cummings?
Aye.
Carried 7.
Next is Resolution 19-202, approve spotlight designation, authorize redevelopment authority to acquire 857 West 9th Avenue, $21,000. Pam,
No one is registered.
bring it back to the council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Would you please take the roll?
Pack?
Aye.
Herman?
Aye.
Ellison Osby? Aye. Palmieri?
Aye.
Mugrower?
Aye.
Krause?
Aye.
Cummings?
Aye.
Carried 7.
There was one item on here that's been removed by council members Herman and Allison Osby, so we'll move on to citizen statements.
No one is
No
registered.
one is registered. We have council member announcements and statements. I'm sorry, Mr. Pat.
Thank you. Ms. Huber, for some reason in my mind, there's something going on next Tuesday, I think. Could you maybe speak to that?
Yes, we do have the spring election. The polls open from 7 in the morning till 8 at night. Voters can go to the city website to find out their polling site, and then also the sample ballot is out there for them to review.
Thank you.
Oh, and if I could just add,
Sure.
early voting is going on in the clerk's office. Tonight, Wednesday and Thursday, it's till 4:30, and then Friday, we are open until 5.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to city manager announcements and statements. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I have a little cold. There's another update in your packet regarding Oshkosh Corporation and the public improvements. I thought that there was some good information this cycle. We're clearly making a lot of progress there, and it's nice to be able to see some of the change associated with that area, especially with some of the snow receding. So hopefully we can get going on continuing those improvements as we go forward. Excuse me. The other thing in city manager announcements I wanted to mention is the recognition of a new neighborhood, Fox Chase. And that neighborhood is over on the west side of town. It's something that I know planning staff has been working on very hard to expand our neighborhood associations. And I know the neighbors in that area are very excited to be part of one of the newest associations we have in the city. So I think that's a positive development. There were a couple other things I'd like to just mention. One thing that I spoke to Finance Director Larson about was the transition to the monthly utility billing. So I just wanted to let the council know and also the citizens that in April, we're going to be having a transition bill. So right now, our citizens are on different schedules for the quarterly implementation or the quarterly payments that they provide right now. But April will be a transition month, so regardless of what sort of schedule you're on, you'll receive a bill. And then that's in preparation for monthly billing taking place in May. So it's just a heads up to the citizens about how that's going to work. And if you have any questions, you can give finance a call. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And
We
then
have one
finally,
more.
go ahead. Mayor?
We met for breakfast. We discussed the issue that some people might be aware of called potholes.
Right, yes.
We've had a very severe winter, along with every other city in the state of Wisconsin.
We have.
But we're already addressing the issue. I've seen trucks out, so.
We are, and
That's one issue.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think the potholes are some of the most severe that I've seen in quite some time, and you're right, it correlates with the winter, the amount of snow we have. It was pretty cold, and, when that water gets into those areas where there's space, it just expands, and the pavement pays the price for it. And so I would just caution citizens to be careful out there. I know they're aware of it, too. I talked to the Public Works Director, and our crews are out on all shifts working on those potholes, but it's a challenge because it's still a little chilly, especially at night, so some of the work that's done is undone. So as it gets a little bit warmer, we'll be able to make a little more progress, I think. But I guess we just ask for the citizens' patience. It's something that is part of living in Wisconsin, and we certainly don't like it. We know they don't like it, but we just ask for their consideration during this time period.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor Palmieri.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question about the update on Oshkosh Corporation. So in part of the staff memo, it says that city staff and AECom are finishing the final design and permitting for the Riverwalk from I-41 to Pinoqua, and plans are 100% complete.
Yes.
A little further down under development agreements and other agreements, in reference to the landscape maintenance agreement, it says that it should be approved after final design of the Riverwalk is completed. So are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Well, we're close. I don't think we're quite there yet, but that is still under development. We have templates and we have experience because of our work with the Riverwalk, but the final portion of it, I don't believe is complete unless Darlene has any additional information that she'd like to share.
The Riverwalk plans were just recently completed. We are still waiting for site plan review, city site plan review on them. So once we get those finalized, then we get Oshkosh Corp's approval on them, then we can start working on finalizing a landscape plan. We're also waiting for Oshkosh Corp to have a better understanding of how they're going to finish their landscaping, so both of them will complement each other along the Riverwalk and their portion of the development. So we're just talking about it right now, but we don't have anything really finalized yet.
So then it's, the permitting and final design and plans are not 100% complete?
The consultant has prepared the plans to 100%, yes.
Okay, the consultant.
And I
piece.
guess it's kind of a nuanced thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it gives us an opportunity to educate the citizenry that it's one thing to develop the plan, but then there's the dialogue that we have with the property owners that are along the Riverwalk. And sometimes that process can take a little bit of time because we want to make sure we're good neighbors with them and they are good neighbors with us. And depending upon where the Riverwalk may be, it could take a little bit longer. I know when we were in the Morgan property area, there was some extended dialogue that took place. So and we don't anticipate any problems with Oshkosh Corporation.
No.
They've been very helpful. They want to see that project move forward. I think the community does, because then there'll be connectivity to the Wawash Trail. I think I've had a lot of citizens that are very excited about the council's support of that leg of the Riverwalk. So we're anxious to try to get that moving forward too.
I think
And
everybody's anxious.
Yeah, I
That's
think
why
they
the
are.
Are we there yet,
And
right?
Oshkosh Corporation is a good partner to work with. They've been very good to us too, so we're hopeful to get that going as soon as we can.
Yeah, and
Councilmember
we
Herman.
also have not received the final portion of the DNR grant for the Riverwalk, so there's a potential that they may want some adjustments made as well.
Okay.
So, but the consultant has completed the plans to 100% until all the final comments are in.
Thanks.
Councilmember Herman.
Thank you, Mayor. Probably more Mr. Robbie, but since you brought up the potholes,
Yes.
I don't know if it's our responsibility or the state's, but the bridge deck on the Oregon Street Bridge going northbound
Yes.
is in very poor shape. And since we just reconstructed Oregon Street from 6th to the south, I would hope we or the state could at least do some cold mix asphalt replacement or something.
If it's the bridge deck itself,
It's not that, it's the approach. So I don't know how far back that goes, because I know Oshkosh Avenue, they're doing some concrete repairs, but
yeah, they'll be doing some work on Oshkosh Ave when they do that project next year.
I know the bridge got pushed back to 2022 or whatever, so there's some time in there where I
Yeah,
think some
we've
minor
done-
repairs of the road in that area could,
We had done a little bit of work last fall on Oregon between the bridge and 6th. I think, with the winter we had, some of that work has been a little bit undone. So
Right.
I've been talking with Streets Division crews about, what we can look at to try to do there.
it might be a
again.
little bigger patch like we did on Pinoqua at that time.
Yeah,
several
and
years ago.
maybe similar to what we did even last year on Oregon. But as Mr. Fitzpatrick said, we kind of got to let it warm up a little
Oh, yeah.
bit before we can
There's
do too much to
A lot
it.
of frost in the ground yet, so
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was on your radar.
I drove over it within the last couple of days, and when
It's pretty noticeable.
yeah, when Mr. Ewan got back from vacation, I had a conversation with him about it today. So
Very good.
we are certainly looking at it.
And also, we
Thank you.
appreciate the heads up. So we appreciate you telling us, Councilmember Herman, and also if citizens want to let us know, maybe a little plug for C-Click Fix. If they want to check that app out, they can let us know where some of those potholes are, and we're happy to work on those when we can.
It's called Connect Oshkosh if you're on the Play Store looking for
It
it.
is called Connect Oshkosh. Thank you, Councilmember Pullman.
One last comment about the Riverwalk in front of Oshkosh Corp. I've had discussions on the Landmarks Commission, the County Historical Society, and Oshkosh Corp. to do historical signage along the Riverwalk. We've got 8,000 years of history to capture in that area, and then we would end at Rainbow Memorial Park, talk about the lumber industry in the city, and then the importance of that mill worker strike from 1898. That was really a pivotal point in the labor movement in this country. So we just have to select subject matters and get that whole thing organized, but that is in the works with different organizations, so.
Yeah, I think for people that are involved in labor relations, they know that Oshkosh is a kind of a unique and special place in the history of.
I think it's really important to capture not only the history of the lumber industry, but the role that strike played in the nation as far as the labor movement. So we'll kind of capture both elements of the history of that, the lumber industry. So
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Adjourn.